What does liberation mean to you?
Liberation, what it means to me is be free from all the impurities, all defiles of the mind, which basically, in a very simple terms, we can say free from everything that is greed, hatred or aversion, and ignorance. Ignorance means all the concepts that we have in our mind, because in a deep way, everything that we think, no matter what, is a kind of ignorance, because thought itself is dualistic. So we can never think or say what the truth is. So liberation from concepts, from thinking, from all these defilements, that is what I call liberation. And what is left after we are free from that, as I said earlier, is not describable.
What was it that attracted you initially to pursue this kind of lifestyle?
Well, it's a long story. Even in this lifetime, since I was a child, I just was absolutely struck, especially when I became an adolescent, by the extreme corruption that I saw all around me in society. Pollution, wars, lies, all the way the adults behave, just doing a show, the hypocrisy everywhere. So probably that kind of thing was very strong in my case, and made me, I remember sitting when I was probably 10, 12 years old in my father's house in the garden, beautiful big garden, big huge house, and I was thinking, I don't know what I want when I grow up, when I am older, but I do know what I don't want. I don't want this. This definitely not, because I was very conscious since very early age that wealth and money definitely is very, very far from what we would call peace or happiness.
Well, how old were you initially when you actually started a committed, dedicated
what happened? You want me to tell you what happened? What happened? This powerful experience I had that transformed my life.
Sure. Please do.
I was already, as I said, I was already sick and tired of all the hypocrisy, all the world, and I was staying in Los Angeles, California, in Venice, California, and something happened there. Some friends of mine joined a group of fanatical people that they used to be called Jesus freaks. Somehow, I don't want to give the story very long, but I went to their little church and I thought they were really mad. But at midnight, I went to the cellar with 5 friends, 2 American women and 2 Mexican men and myself. And they started to pray in language, and I had a very powerful experience that lasted about 1 week. During 1 week, I was not eating, not cold, and having all kinds of continuous experiences out of the body, etc., etc., and the whole universe was transformed from being hell into being the most extraordinary place that I could imagine. That was my first powerful mystical experience when I felt I was born, newborn. To describe each of these experiences during this week will take weeks and weeks, because every minute was an intense experience of so many different kinds.
What was it that initiated the experience?
I think, looking back...
If you sit down here, there's
here?
some light. Yeah, this light is coming.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yeah, much better.
Then after the years, I had a second experience. After that experience passed away, of course, it's all this kind of path, which is very, very painful at the beginning, because the experience goes and then you don't know how it came. And all these kind of things is the black night of the soul, as St. John of the Cross calls it. And anyways, after that I started to have other experiences. I came into yoga, into meditation, and I started to understand why these experiences come about and how to get them, which I didn't know before. So it's a long process, and I am talking about when that experience happened to me, that very first experience. I was about 23 years old, so that means quite a long time, almost 40 years. So it's a lots of water has gone under the bridge, since then. But when I look back into that experience, I think one of the very important facts that caused the experience was precisely that absolutely in my mind, how I was totally repulsed, disgusted with the world in general. I even had thought or considered suicide. I had no way out. So basically that kind of desperate situation and no attraction for worldly power or money and things at all, I think those factors influence very much for that experience, initial experience to happen.
And as a result, and the practices that you developed and things that you learned, what have been the fruits of those practices over the greater part of your lifetime of serious study and dedication?
You mean the fruits of those practices in the years that I have done it after that? What is the fruit of that practice?
Yeah, of everything you've learned. Yeah.
Well, the fruit as it is now is basically one of the things that I always wished was to be totally established in sitting meditation, and I am, because that is a practice that is more natural for me than breathing, and easy. I don't struggle. The moment I sit in the correct posture, that same instant, I am in a totally different space, which is, I would say, very calm space where time disappears, space, the frictions disappears, and then it just goes deeper and deeper. Well, that is as an experience, but the fruits themselves is not only the experiences, it's really basically I would say the detachment from all worldly desires or goals. I have no attraction for anything of what usually people call the good things of life, such as money, pleasures, having fun. And especially lately, I was a very sexual person, very strong sexual drive. I lived with women, I had harems sometimes.
You had what?
I lived with many women.
And you had what?
A few times.
You had what sometimes?
It's like a harem, you know.
You had a harem.
Well, I lived a few times with 10 women, things like that, or 6 or whatever. So I have done many things in my life. But anyways, I don't have absolutely the slightest desire or missing anything of my past or my youth or nothing at all. When I see young people that I am not anymore young, I don't envy them at all, because in our culture, in our Western culture, usually there is this idolatry of youth and beauty and health and wealth and these things. These are extremely superficial for me. Not only superficial, they are even painful. And because the dimensions into which you go through these practices, the different realities are not possible to compare to anything that this worldly existence can give you. And that already is available to me.
But are you happy?
Yes, happy. To be happy sounds very superficial, you know, but still, yeah, I would say yes, I am very happy. I am absolutely content and extremely grateful and happy that I found Dharma and that I practice it, and that I see my way unfolding and growing and getting deeper and deeper, and that gives me, that in itself is experiences which are much more than happiness and much more than just pleasure. As I say, they are undescribable. So there is nothing that I value in life besides that. At my age, well, this is just a joke, you know. I don't care about my appearance or my sex appeal, because that's long time left ago, you know. So whatever it is, in a way, sex doesn't matter. I mean, age doesn't matter in certain way, in certain aspects. But in other aspects, I guess it has a lot to do, you know, with your practice. And if you do practice when you are young, I remember I was in the jungle in Mexico one time, living in a beautiful house in the jungle, doing practice, and there was another little house next to me, straw house, and there was a 65, 60 or 70-year-old yogi, American yogi, doing his practice, and I would just say hello on my way to my house. And about a week after that, I just see him and saw him. He said, "Oh, it's wonderful you are doing this. I will tell you something. When you get older, it's when you will really get the fruit of what you are doing now." I was about 25, maybe 26. And those words stayed in my mind very strong. You know, it hit me very deep. Now that I am older, you know, I find the truth of them, you know. These fruits are amazing when you get older. But if you don't do the practice when you are young, very, very few times, very seldom, a person begins when he's older. Begins to practice when he's older. Usually that goes for everything in life, not only in meditation, you know. Usually whatever you did on your 20s, let's say, it's what you will do the rest of your life. Very shanti, very shanti. Now that I am coming from Bauda, I kind of, it's more obvious.
I prefer it here.
Oh yeah,
much more.
No comparison. And also not so many tourists.
Yeah, there's not so much bullshit here.
More local.
There's so many statues.
Yeah, so many stupas.
What's the most powerful place you feel like you've been to and practiced in? And do you think some places are more powerful to practice than others, and if so, why?
Yes, I do. I myself, because of the practice that I do, and going really deep, practicing day and night, non-stop, etc., I found a deep cave where I do some retreats sometimes in Thailand. Very, very deep cave. I think I found that place the very best that I know.
How many caves have you meditated in?
Oh, I don't know, maybe, well, short times, long times, many, maybe, I don't know, 20 or who knows.
Why, what is the benefit of meditating in caves?
Well, I am talking about this particular cave in Thailand.
Oh, okay.
I was in a place, I've been a few times doing a retreat in a place which is, it's a 500 meters deep, half a kilometer deep, but many branches inside, big chambers like cathedrals. So I was in a place, perfect place, like a big dome in the middle, under the dome, in absolute darkness and silence. And there I could really go very, very, very deep in practice. And there were 3 poor monks in the foot of the hill who will provide me with food. So it was an ideal place. The second best place, believe it or not, for me, I would say, have been prisons. I've been in a few prisons before, in Bangladesh, in USA, in San Francisco, and in Nicaragua. Powerful places of practice. Better than monasteries. Well, Zen monasteries in a retreat also is amazing, very good. But prisons in a way more powerful. Especially solitary confinement, or with the inmates. Yes, all the...
You find that your meditation is best in prison?
In particularly one prison I was in Bangladesh, the one I mentioned, about almost 2 months, I think about 2 months or so, in solitary confinement, very clean prison. It was like a temple for political prisoners, Muslim people. The jailers were doing their prayers five times a day, beginning 3 in the morning. And the echo of the prison, they brought my food 3 times a day, little food. So it was perfect situation to go deep in practice.
And you've already told the story, but can you relate again for the camera? How did you end up in a Bangladesh prison? You're just a simple meditator.
You want me to tell you that story again? If I said, because I have thousands and thousands of stories, why repeat the same one?
Yeah, but okay. You didn't repeat the same one in front of the camera.
Why I came to the prison? Basically, in a few words, it was because I was teaching Hindu religion, yoga, meditation, in a very fanatical Muslim country, which is Bangladesh. And this organization included also some political activities. And I was put to prison and questioned or have some interview with some officer about once a week. And then after a month and a half, they just told me, okay, you are out, you have 3 days to leave the country. Basically, that was the reason.